Hello and welcome to a new episode of Immigration and its Effect on People. Today's guest is a musician from Central America who traveled the world to end up in North America as a nurse. Between Costa Rica and Boston, there is a story, a long story of migration and immigration. Let's see together all the above, and please help me welcome Veronica Worthington. Hi, Veronica.
Hi, I'm Ali.
I'm very happy to have you today. And the first question that I start with all the time is when you hear the word immigration, what comes first to your mind?
Immigration. Um, what first comes to my mind is probably the idea of an individual moving from the place where this one was born into a new area where he or she seeks to further develop their skills and have a maybe more stable lifestyle.
So when you hear the word immigration, you hear about better future.
Yes.
Okay, so between the better future and the intention, there is a process, the transition, the differences, the impact. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. Sure. I think one thing that people usually forget or don't take in consideration when talking about migration is that in the process of moving from the place, from the country where you were born to a different area, uh, is usually like, is mostly like being reborn. So you are leaving your town, your family, your friends, and you are going to this new place where you have nothing. Most of the time, it's not the case for everybody. Is the case for myself, and it's been the case for many of my friends. Uh, we're moving from the place where we had everything, uh, in a material way, in an emotional and physical way. We had everything. We had family, we had friends, we had a home, and we're moving to another country or another town where we don't have any of these things. We have to work hard to pay for rent. We have to work hard to maintain the level, at a professional level, in order to compete with other people that probably have more education than us. And before all of this, we also have to keep up with the language. If the language in the place where we're moving to is a different than the one we grew up with.
I see. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience when you were going from a city to another to perform or to discover? I know that you're a traveler. Is it the same experience? Do you feel like, oh, I need to learn a new language, I need to do something to be equal to people over there, or migration is different than immigration to a specific place to stay forever?
No, I think it's a little bit different because if you're going from one town to another, you already, well, you probably will have the same language. You already have probably adopted a set of skills that you can transfer from town to town, or in my case, from state to state. So let's say when I first moved to the United States, I was living in California. I was fresh out of college. I was very young. I was in my early 20s. And let's per se say I didn't know much about life, right? Then I grew up and I adopted certain knowledge there that I was able to utilize and transfer to when I lived in, or when I moved to New York City. So in every town, when you move from town to town within a same place or country, uh, you can kind of drag with you all these pieces of knowledge that you have adopted throughout the time that you have lived in a different place, and apply it to the new things that you are learning. So I think it's a lot easier. It was definitely a lot easier for me to move from California to New York to Boston to Georgia, then back to Boston, than moving from Costa Rica all the way to the United States, or even if I had to move back to Costa Rica. I think culturally, the way that we get transformed and that we get transformed and formed is a lot different moving or going back from a different country than when you go from state to state or different towns.
You mean when you immigrated from Costa Rica to the United States, it was like transplant? The transition was like, can you tell us a little bit about the transition? How was it? How did you deal with the cultural differences? How was it? How did you deal with that?
I don't think I even had a chance to analyze or really associate the fact that I had to transform myself or adapt, because when you're younger, you just do things. You're not thinking much,
You
right?
just adjust. You
You
adjust.
just adjust. It's different now. I'm 40, so for me, if I had to do this right now, leave my country to come to the States and start from zero, meaning I left my career behind, I left all my friends from childhood behind, and I left my family. If I had to do this at 40, I would think, what are the pros and the cons? Like, is this really worth it? Is it really the emotional, in the emotional side, is it really worth leaving my family and everything that I already have, my roots, to come to a place where I have no roots, where I have to start from zero? So I think in your early 20s or when you're young, you just do it. You don't care. You are just happy to be moving from one place to another. You're happy to be traveling without a plan. You're happy to see whatever happens, right? And again, this might not be the case for everybody, but it was the case for me. Like, I usually am very easy in the way that I will go places without feeling too attached to one another. I will go from one city to another without thinking, okay, I don't have a place to live there. I will be just like, okay, there's gonna be a place where that I can rent. If this doesn't work out, something is gonna happen and something is gonna work out. Now that I'm 20 years older than when I moved to California, I think it's really worth it. Like, I'm leaving my family, so there's gonna be emotional consequences. I will be alone. I will feel lonely. Um, I have no support behind me to, like, if I don't have a place to live, what am I going to do? I have to work. And I kind of just go hide in my friends' houses because my friends now are adults that are married and they have families. So all of these things are maybe things that I should have thought in my 20s, but I didn't think of it when I was younger because I was just younger. So I think it also it depends much on the age that you are when you are moving from one place to another. It depends a lot if you have kids, if you're married, if you're single, if you're dating someone. I think all of these are factors that affect how you adapt to a new place. But
Mm.
it definitely is easier in your 20s than in your, like, later in life, I think.
So the positivity and the spontaneity and the lack of maturity, maybe when you're
Yes,
young, and the love of adventure, maybe made the immigration easier than if you wanted to move at this age. That's what I'm
absolutely.
hearing.
I think
Okay.
so. At least for me. And this is
Okay.
coming from a person who I consider myself adventurous. I think, even now that I think about things twice and I try to analyze and weigh the pros and the cons of a situation and moving to a new place, I I know that deep inside me I want to look for something more stable. I don't want to be jumping from town to town, from state to state, without thinking about it and measure weighting the consequences of this. I think at a certain time in life, we as humans, we need stability. We need to feel the need of belonging. So, and I think it's very nice to feel like you don't belong anywhere and that you belong in the world. Like, um, but this is something that you don't have to stop feeling with, by setting your roots in a place. I think keeping your roots in one place is good and it helps us feel grounded. And it also, I feel like it helps us grow a lot, in our careers or, like, in everything that we do.
That's an awesome answer, actually. Yeah, we take pride sometimes by saying, "Oh, I'm a citizen of the world." Wait a minute. Do you feel rooted? Do you feel like you belong? Do you have the support system? So, when you were
Yeah.
younger in California, maybe the adventure, the positivity, even learning a new language, learning new sets of values, new sets of seeing the world perspective, because American, like in the United States, are different than people in Costa Rica, not only by language but by perception of life. So were you able to adopt and adjust easily between the Costa Rican culture and the American culture when you were in California?
Um, I think it was easy because when I moved to California, I think like California, like San Francisco especially, is a very open-minded place. So,
Cosmopolitan, you mean?
sorry,
Cosmopolitan?
it's very cosmopolitan. The people that were my circle of friends there were people from over the world because I was very active in the couch surfing um,
Such as?
thing. Yeah, so back then into the early 2000s, couch surfing was big. So I will attend meetups, and I will meet with all these people from all over the world that were young professionals that were traveling, and we were spending a lot of time hiking, a lot of time doing things together, going to museums, going to different towns, going to festivals. So that part kind of fulfill all the years that I left behind in Costa Rica and all the friends that I left behind in Costa Rica. So all the things I could have been doing in my country at my age, I was able to fulfill that part here because of the people that I chose to have around.
I see.
So I think it was a very personal choice to have this type of people and this type of lifestyle. Um, and also the type of people that I was surrounded with, but were very professional people. They all had their careers. They all they were all traveling and they were a little crazy, but they had their feeling like they were grounded. They knew that they could party, but they also were very responsible and they knew where what their goal was and they had a mindset. And still to today, I'm still in touch with many of these people and they have their careers. They are great people and they have their families now and they never stop being responsible. So I think that part helped a lot. Like I
Nice.
definitely think that the people that you surround yourself around when you go to a different place has a lot to do
So you
with
need to find another community very similar to your aspiration and you who
yes.
sees the world in the same way, the same outlook, so you can ease up the
Yes.
the the negative way of immigration and being away of your family. I see.
And so you don't get lost because it's very easy to get lost is when you don't have family around, when you don't have nobody that grew up with you, when you don't have um
Like-minded people.
like-minded people, it's really easy to you get used to it. If I'm surrounded by a person who is always eating pizza, eventually I'm gonna end up
You're
eating
gonna
pizza also,
drift to the
right?
pizza and
So
accumulate
exactly.
some
So
weight.
I think to me it has been a key factor, like important key factor, the fact that I have been or I have chosen to be surrounded by people who are at my level or above. So I always
Good.
had people to look after, to look forward to, like learning from them. So I think this is important when you are immigrating or migrating to new places to feel like
Awesome.
you are surrounded by people who is encouraging you to move further in your career, to
Who
keep your
believe
lifestyle,
who believe in you
to
and
believe in you. It
who
keeps you
push you
grounded.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps you grounded and it is easier not to lose yourself or to be like, okay, whatever, like this is what it is. I'm just gonna lower my standards, lower my lifestyle, lower my
That
quality of
hurts.
living.
Yeah.
So it's good to keep you grounded and to keep you centered on the ideas that you first had when you moved to the country.
Nice. So the basic idea is to improve yourself and have a better life. And being
Correct.
surrounded with people, usually they said smarter than us, more successful than us, people who believed in us mostly, they're not jealous
Mhm.
of us. That's a great
Yeah.
factor to move forward. So what made you move from California to New York, and at what age?
I moved from California to New York, 2009. The economy, the economy crashed in 2009 in the West Coast, well, in all of the US, but I think it hit harder in the West Coast. And I was working there. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of my friends went back to their countries. They went back to the Netherlands. They went back to Germany. They went back to whatever place they belonged. And so I always wanted to live in New York, because New York is always pictured as this big city full of amazing things.
The
And I
dream.
thought, why not? Let me try New York. So I moved to New York. I really didn't think about having a job there or having a place to live. I just grabbed my things and I went to New York. And I remember sitting at a Starbucks with my iPhone. I had like a very old iPhone. The screen was cracked, and I was sitting there for hours looking on Craigslist for jobs. And it took me about it took me like probably a week to 10 days to get a job. I went to a few interviews. I didn't have the appropriate outfits to go to certain interviews. So they would tell me, okay, you qualify, but what is this way you're dressing?
Oh,
Um, so it was a learning process, a quick learning process, I think, of knowing what I needed to modify in order to get the job that I wanted or the job that could help me get an apartment and get all this. So um, I don't know if I will say that I was lucky. I definitely put a lot of effort into finding the type of jobs that I wanted and that I knew were going to pay me what I wanted. Uh, but I also knew that in order to get this type of jobs, I needed to have certain way that I would present myself. I needed to have a certain way to express myself, certain words, certain vocabulary. I knew that the way I would present myself professionally in the interview was the type of jobs that I was going to get, and therefore the amount of money that I was going to get per hour. So I think, yeah, that's
that
what
has
got me to move to New
that helps.
York. I don't know. I just moved to New York
Being
because
well
it seemed
dressed,
like a cool idea.
choosing your vocabulary that landed you a nice job. What was the
Yeah,
job that you could have in New York, if you
I
can?
was I was working as a personal assistant for an actress.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
And it's a very large life experience and learning
yeah,
experience from these people. You see the two words and you learn a lot. So,
yeah.
and what made you move again to Boston, to Massachusetts? You had the best life over there.
So I moved. Yeah, it was nice, but New York is all you're making a lot of money, but you're also spending a lot of money. I wanted before I turned 30. I knew I was 28, and I thought by the age I'm 30, I need to find um, a new career that will give me the amount of money that I want for traveling, the amount of money that I need for traveling, and also helping my mom if she needs help. I need the amount of money and the amount of time. So I start going through careers and thinking where I can move that will give me a good education, but also that I will find a good company to work for. Um, and what type of career would allow me to make the amount of money that I want and that I need, but also will allow me to have the flexibility of enjoying life. So it's not working all the time, because that is something that in Costa Rica we work a lot, but also you enjoy life. Even if you don't have money, you have your family, you have these things that here we need to compensate for. Because if we don't have our family here, you at least need to be able to enjoy life with friends, or not with friends. If you
Absolutely.
want to
Yeah.
do it on your own, you have to have this
Absolutely. Yeah.
this availability. So um I also
Excuse me. I I have to interrupt you. So you said that you came to California to for education. You were in college in California, you said?
Yes, I started a couple things. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do because
Oh,
in Costa Rica, I was studying architecture. So I studied music as a kid. Then I went into architecture when I finished high school. And then when I moved to California, I was doing graphic design.
mm,
And with this, I thought maybe because of the technology and everything, all the companies in California, I thought maybe if I study animation, I can work for Pixar or some cool company. And then I started taking courses and everything in a community college, and I didn't like it.
ah,
So then I went into Berkeley, University of Berkeley Extension School, and I studied there. I got a certification in graphic design, which helped me work in graphic design. And then the economy crashed. I have finished my certification. I thought maybe I can go to New York.
I
I needed
see.
to get a job quick because I didn't have money. I needed to have a job, get a job quick. And so I started applying for like babysitting positions, personal assistant positions. Um, but and this is how I got the job being a personal assistant for the actress. um but then you're working for all these people, you're seeing the type of lifestyle they have, and I'm not talking about the type of lifestyle when it comes to clothes or expensive bags. I'm talking about the fact that they have the money to pay for their things and still enjoy life. So I thought, okay, I like this. I want to be able to enjoy my life, maybe not having all the luxury things because I'm not into that. Um, but I want to, for me, luxury will be being able to go to visit my family whenever, or being able to bring my mom and, visit my sister, or like visit my brother, or visit my friends abroad whenever I want. So to me, that is luxury. So how can I achieve that
The
luxurious lifestyle,
balance.
because traveling is a luxury. How can I achieve that and still have a job and a career and a balance between all of this? So then I also wanted to when I decided to move to Boston, uh, was because I was tired of always working in New York, and the lifestyle in New York kind of pushes you. It pushes you to always work hard, work hard, work hard. But you're also surrounded by all these business people and all these dreamers that come here and they want to party, and it's like certain status and certain lifestyle, which is good, but it mentally drains you because there's no nature around. And I also wanted to be close to nature. So, in seeking being around nature, in seeking having a new career that allowed me to put all of my
Wants and needs together. Wants and needs
yeah,
together.
all of my needs. Yeah, yeah. I also wanted a career that will not make me feel that I was wasting my time. This was, I
Mm,
think, the main thing. I wanted to do something for a living that I could do and enjoy while I was at work, and that I will not think when I was at work, I wouldn't think like, oh, what time is it? 4 more hours. I'm wasting my day here. I didn't want to feel like I was wasting my day. So I thought nursing. I started. I did a certification to become a nursing assistant, and I started working I work in a nursing home and then in a hospital, and I could be in the hospital for 15 hours and I was happy. And
wow.
even if my day wasn't going so well, I would go to the hospital and my problems meant nothing because I knew that these people were in a more vulnerable condition and that I was able to help them. So
That made you
this
feel
is
happy when you can
yeah,
give and
yeah,
make
yeah,
a difference. Maybe you're a people
yeah.
person and you didn't know that. It was a revelation.
I can be antisocial too. But this is like career wise, this is what I wanted to do. I had certain requirements that I wanted for a career that meant a lot to me, and not feeling like I was wasting my time, in an office all day was one of them. Not having to take work home after being at work all day was another thing. Um, so I think these two things and having the balance between the work and my personal life with time off, and I think all of these things was what led me to nursing. And I tried before being a nursing assistant, and I liked it, and that's what led me to, okay, I'm going to prepare myself now to what I need in order to achieve the
What I
level of
want.
education that I need to apply to nursing school and then to go through nursing school.
Mm.
So yeah, that's why I
That's
moved
how
so
you
much
end
from
up.
one place to the other.
You end up in Massachusetts. It seems
And that in
immigration.
Massachusetts, because Massachusetts seemed nice. And I honestly, when I saw Massachusetts, because Georgia was another option for me, I had friends there. Um, but when I saw Massachusetts, my my perspective of Massachusetts the first time was like, okay, it's clean, it's small, and it's a little bit boring. Perfect.
Uh-huh.
I thought this is perfect. I will be able to focus on only working and going to school. It's not too
Wow.
much
Yeah.
fun. There's not too much to do, which I think
Wow.
is still a reality. I think Massachusetts is a little boring, but I think it's also good. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you, focused on your goal.
Wow. Honestly, I admire your strength and your awareness. You have high awareness of yourself and what you need from the world, and you're self-motivated. You have this high emotional intelligence, and it sounds like it helped you throughout all these years. Can you tell me a little bit the difference between Veronica now and Veronica before? Pro immigration and post immigration. What's the difference between the two?
Veronica now is 20 years older.
Yeah.
Veronica now, let's see, what's the difference? I think Veronica now, the main difference is that I think more before making a move. I think more, I worry more. No, I don't worry. I think more about if my actions of today, how will they impact my next few years. Um, if I move to California right now, will be very nice, but the cost of moving, the financial damage, the moving from one place to another, and I will say somehow the emotional weight that moving from one place to another is like you leave a piece of you behind every time you move from one place to another. Uh, it keeps your brain shaken. So I think that's the difference. Like now I'm more aware of the where the moving from one place to another causes. And so I think more about my moves and how this will impact my future.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Veronica, you're saying something really, really valuable. But for someone who wanted to immigrate to another from their own country, uh,
Mhm.
to another country for a better future, what would your advice be to them? Even though you mentioned that you need to surround yourself with people like-minded and have a community to support you
Yeah.
emotionally, because the emotional strain will be very, very hard on you. So what would be
Yeah.
your advice? Because it's a cultural shock, let's face it.
Uh, it's an interesting question because a lot of, well, a couple of my friends in Costa Rica want to move out of the country, and I tell them it's not going to be a bed of roses. It's not going to be easy. Uh, like they say, the grass always looks greener in the other side until you get there, and then you realize that it wasn't really greener. It's just you're looking at it,
Your
from a
perspective, yeah, the
perspective,
angle was different.
and you're going to struggle the same way that you're struggling in your country. So I think for a very for a small amount of population, maybe they can have a better life if they move somewhere else. um However, it takes a strong personality. It takes a lot of courage, Um, if you are not emotionally stable, if you don't know what you want, if you are emotionally weak when you are in your country, you're going to bring all of that to the
You're gonna
States,
crash.
to Europe, to Asia, to any continent you move to. So it's like when you're in a relationship and you have certain damage, if you don't heal those wounds before you move on to the next relationship, you're still going to suffer because you're dragging things.
Absolutely.
So I think if you don't find, if you're not happy in your own place where you were raised, if you're not happy and grateful with what you have, even if it's little, if you cannot see the good wide picture from all of it, uh, being in another country where you're going to be probably making more money or you're going to be living in a better place, this is not really going to matter because the change starts within you, right? So if you're not happy in one place, you're not going to be happy in another place. You need to find yourself first. You need to know your purpose. You need to know where you want to go. You cannot just go from one place to another trying to find your place, because trying to find yourself, because the only way to find yourself is inside you. It doesn't
Right.
matter if it's a new city, it doesn't matter if it's a new state. You could be surrounded by millionaires and very like CEOs and very professional people that can help you move on forward with your career. But if you're not happy inside you, within you, you're not going to feel at peace in any city or any place where you go.
I see. This is a piece of wisdom. We can wrap up this beautiful interview with you, Veronica. Um, when I hear you, I don't hear someone who's been outside of his country for 20 years. I feel like you're 20 years old and you're still Costa Rican and you have a head well set between your shoulder and you don't regret your immigration because you worked on your stuff.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, you know what you want, and immigration was just another chapter in your life. I really admire your strength, and thank you so much for this, for your piece of wisdom, and for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks.
Is there anything you wanted to say and I didn't allow you to say, or anything you wanted to say, a question you wanted to answer and I didn't
No,
ask
I
you?
don't know. Maybe just say like I don't always knew what I wanted. I kind of learned a lot along the way. But one thing that there's only one thing I guess that I knew I wanted, and it was that I wasn't going to give up. Whatever I did, I didn't want to have a regret, and I didn't want to give up. So going back was never an option for me. Uh, Quitting was never an option. So even if I had to work harder, and if you're studying and you have to repeat a class or you have to start from zero, do it, but don't quit. So I think that's the only thing that I always knew, is that I didn't have to quit, or that I couldn't quit. Quitting was not an option for me, and regretting was not an option either. So I think even when I didn't know what to do, I knew that these two factors were part of my focus.
Well said, Veronica. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And I
you're
wish you
welcome.
the best in your life and have a
Thank,
great day. Thank
thank
you.
you. Bye.